Hi there, everyone. This week's read aloud has to do with the season that it is right now. It has to do with spring, and some of us may be about to celebrate Easter this coming week, or if you don't celebrate Easter, maybe you celebrate bunnies, because bunnies are very in season right now. So, without further ado, our read aloud this week is called The Velveteen Rabbit. It is written by Margery Williams Bianca and illustrated by Charles Santorum. Now, there isn't a love letter at the beginning of this book. It's actually one of those books that has the really thick, almost wooden-like cardboard pages. It's very heavy to hold. There was once a Velveteen Rabbit, and in the beginning, he was really splendid. He was fat and bunchy, as a rabbit should be. His coat was spotted brown and white, and his ears were lined with pink sateen. It's a pretty nice looking bunny. Looks like maybe they were celebrating the winter holidays then. He was naturally shy, and being only made of velveteen, some of the more expensive toys quite snubbed him. That means that they weren't very nice to him. Oh, look at him. That lion looks very proud and like he might not be being very nice. I don't like that. The only person who was kind to him at all was the skin horse. He was very wise, for he had seen many mechanical toys, and he knew that they were only toys and would never turn into anything else. I wonder why he's telling him this. He does look pretty nice, though. He looks like he's talking very, very kindly. "What is real?" asked the rabbit one day. "Real isn't how you are made," said the skin horse. "It's a thing that happens to you when a child loves you for a long, long time. By the time you are real, you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But once you are real, you can't be ugly, except to people who don't understand." Interesting. So our little rabbit friend is wondering what it is like to be real. And our skin horse has some pretty good advice. There was a person called Nana, who went swooping about like a great wind and hustled the playthings away in cupboards. The tin ones hated it, but the rabbit didn't mind it so much, for wherever he was thrown, he came down soft. Now that makes sense, because he's a velveteen kind of plushy rabbit. It wouldn't hurt him so much. But it probably did hurt the other toys. One evening, when the boy was going to bed, he couldn't find the china dog that always slept with him. "Here," Nana said, "take your old bunny." That night, and for many nights after, the Velveteen Rabbit slept in the boy's bed. And so time went on, and the little rabbit was very happy. So happy that he never noticed how his beautiful velveteen fur was getting shabbier, and his tail becoming unsewn, and all the pink rubbed off his nose where the boy had kissed him. Oh, it sounds like the boy really loves him. And the rabbit looks really happy. Once, the rabbit was left out after dusk, and Nana had to look for him with the candle because the boy couldn't go to sleep unless he was there. "Fancy all that fuss for a toy," she said. "You mustn't say that," the boy said. "He isn't a toy, he's real." When the little rabbit heard that, he was happy, for he knew that the skin horse had said it was true. At last, he was real. The boy himself had said it. Wow. Okay, so there's Nana looking for him, and then the boy said that the rabbit was real. That's pretty big stuff. Near the house there was a wood. One evening while the rabbit was lying there alone, he saw two strange beings. They were rabbits like himself, but quite furry and brand new. They stared at him, and the little rabbit stared back, and all the time their noses twitched. "He hasn't got any hind legs. He doesn't smell right," the wild rabbit exclaimed, jumping backward. "He isn't a rabbit at all. He isn't real." They're the real rabbits in our Velveteen Rabbit. Probably wasn't too nice hearing them talk about him like that, was it? I am real, said the little rabbit. The boy said so. Come back and play with me. I know I am real. But there was no answer. Weeks passed, and the little rabbit grew very old and shabby, but the boy loved him just as much. He loved him so hard that the pink lining to his ears turned gray, and his brown spots faded. He is kind of looking like a different color, isn't he? And then, one day, the boy was ill. That means sick. His little body was so hot that it burned the rabbit when he held him close. The Velveteen Rabbit lay there, hidden from sight under the bedclothes, and he never stirred, for he was afraid that if they found him, someone might take him away. And he knew that the boy needed him. Do you have a stuffy that you need? When I was little, I had a stuffed teddy bear, and I also had my blankie that I needed, and I still sometimes need my teddy bear and my blankie. Do you need them too sometimes? Presently, the boy got better. The room was to be disinfected, and all the books and toys that the boy had played with in bed must be burnt. How about his old bunny? Nana asked. That? Said the doctor. Why, it's a mass of scarlet fever germs. Burn it at once. And so the little rabbit was put into a sack and carried out to the garden. The little rabbit felt very lonely. A tear, a real tear, trickled down his little shabby velvet nose and fell to the ground. Oh my goodness, this is so sad. Look at that little tear. Oh, I can't. We won't look at it too long. Let's see if it gets better. Where the tear had fallen, a flower grew out of the ground. The blossom opened, and out of it stepped a fairy. I am the nursery magic fairy, she said. I take care of all the playthings that the children have loved. When they are old and worn out, I turn them into real. Wasn't I real before? Asked the little rabbit. You were real to the boy, the fairy said, because he loved you. Now you shall be real to everyone. What a nice fairy. Wow, she turned really big to pick up that rabbit. It's amazing. She flew with the little rabbit into the wood where the wild rabbits dance. I've brought you a new playfellow, the fairy said. You must be very kind to him and teach him all he needs to know in Rabbitland. And she kissed the little rabbit again and put him down on the grass. Well, that's very nice. She told everyone that they needed to help him. Do you think they will? I hope so. But the little rabbit sat quite still for a moment, for he didn't want them to see that he was made all in one piece. He did not know that the fairy had changed him. Just then, something tickled his nose, and before he thought what he was doing, he lifted his hind toe to scratch it. He actually had hind legs. Instead of dingy velveteen, he had brown fur, soft and shiny. He was a real rabbit at last. Look, there's his little foot about to scratch his nose. The seasons passed, and in the spring, the boy went out to play in the wood and saw 2 rabbits. There was something familiar about the little soft nose and round black eyes of one of them, and the boy thought to himself, why, he looks just like my old bunny. But he never knew that it really was his own bunny, come back to look at the child who had first helped him to be real. Wow. Can you imagine having the faith in one of your toys that they could be real? And then them turning real? That'd be kind of spectacular. Well, I hope you enjoyed reading The Velveteen Rabbit and that you give your toys some extra love today if you get to play with them. Or if you're older like me and you don't really have as many toys, I just hope you take the time to enjoy everything that's around you that you can play with, or maybe even color with or draw with, and you take the time to make it feel real around you. Make the world feel real. Have a wonderful Easter, or have a wonderful bunny season. Enjoy the weather and enjoy each other. Thank you.